Let's talk. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this edition of Let's Talk. It's been a long time since I've done one of these, and I usually have a structure to this, but this one's going to be a little bit more impromptu. But what I want to talk about is truth and how rare it is in today's world. How rare it is to find in today's world. Now, with everything that's going on right now, and what you see in the news, in social media, and everything, there's always people that will try to pull you into a certain point of view that they believe is the truth, and they will constantly attack the other side, saying like, no, they're lying, they don't care, they're bad people, anybody that believes this is horrible, you shouldn't believe that, which is a very clever tactic, but I'll get into that later. But what I want to talk about is how to survive in a post-truth world, because that's a very, I don't know where I got the phrase post-truth from, but I think it's appropriate because we're getting bombarded with so much information from mainstream news outlets to journalists to social media to what the most popular belief is. It's all overwhelming because people are trying to everybody is trying to convince you that something is true, which, to put it plainly, anybody that's trying to figure out to tell you what the truth is without you doing any kind of critical thinking, without giving you any kind of real evidence, real thought of evidence, real statistics, real facts, that's propaganda. Especially if they're trying to appeal to you emotionally. That's the first red flag. But there's a lot that goes into how people can attack you to try and not persuade you, but to make you think a certain way. And it's all when somebody can convince you to think a certain way, you're giving them power. They have power over you. Their words manage to sway you to one side. And even more so, that's really insidious, is when somebody can convince you that a certain group of people are evil, or a certain group of people are extremely stupid or disillusioned. Basically, to make you believe that you are better than somebody else. That's very, very, very dangerous propaganda. But you see it around, you see it all the time now. Go on social media. I remember when Trump became president. I personally, at the time, wasn't following the presidential campaign. I was too busy trying to get through high school. I was too busy trying to get through community college. And I remember what ruckus that Trump caused with everything, and how many people around me as a Californian hated Trump. And I had no real opinions about it. I never really got involved in anything politically. But I remember during that whole presidential campaign, if you supported Trump, you would lose friends. If you supported Trump, you would lose friends. If you supported the wrong kind of ideologies, you would lose friends. Which was something that was extremely unprecedented to me. Because growing up, when I was growing up, people didn't care too much about politics. They were too busy worried about themselves. How am I gonna like here's my hopes and dreams. Here's the goals that I want to hit for the future. Here's the things that I need to do to survive. I want to focus on that. And then all of a sudden politics seeped into everyday life, and when it did, people lost friends over it, over ideas. And so when I delved deeper into what was going on, I started to realize that this is a very dangerous thing that's happening. Is people are convincing other people with different ideas that they're evil, that they're bad. And that was terrifying. That was terrifying. Because I read up on World War II. I read up on how Germany managed to convince a lot of people that Jews were the problem. And I knew from the get-go, after reading all of that about everything that happened in Germany in World War II, I knew immediately that if there was a side trying to convince me that a certain group of people are bad because of what they believe in, or that they're evil, without any kind of like real evidence that they're partaking in some kind of evil act, then that's dangerous propaganda. Very dangerous propaganda. And you can convince a group of people to shun and even villainize a different group of people. That's, to me, extremely dangerous. And now you see more of it. You see more of it now in modern times, today. You start to see people with every single new issue that is happening that divides people. You start to see one side call the other side evil, nasty, uninformed, Nazis. That's the most popular one, Nazis. And so much information is being thrown about, and it all feels like a time of control. It really seems like a bunch of big players are involved to try and control the thoughts of people. You think about what COVID managed to do. When I think about what COVID managed to do to people, it freaked me out a little bit. And I know if I read into more of it and I think about the massive scope on what COVID actually did, it would freak me out a lot more, which is probably why I don't think about it too much. But it's going to be unavoidable. It's unavoidable at this point. But people were convinced, without seeing it for their own eyes, they're just looking at, they were just told there's a virus going on in China. It's coming to America. We need to shut down everything. Everybody needs to wear masks. And then over time, everybody needs to wear 2 masks. We have a vaccine. We haven't really tested it much to see if it works, but we want people to shoot up on this vaccine. We have another vaccine. We have a 3rd vaccine. We have a 4th vaccine. We're going to get boosted. Everybody needs to wear 3 masks. And people did it. That's the scariest thing about all of it. People did it without asking a question. Why? Because they used fear, which is a very effective tool in controlling people. Because if you can convince people to be scared of something and that you have the answer, all you need to do is X, Y, and Z, they have full control over you. They have control over what you do, over what you think, about the people that don't comply, because I've seen a lot of people not comply with COVID. Even I haven't complied with COVID. And I have seen people give me dirty looks, and I've seen people have come up to me and say, hey, you need to put a mask on. And that has been going around all over the country, especially in 2020, 2021. People were freaked out over COVID. And what was the results now that we live in a post-COVID world? What were the results of that? Every single person I know, old, young, my age, a little bit older, my grandparents got COVID. They're alive. They're alive and well. My parents got COVID. My grandparents got COVID. They're still alive. My grandparents, I can't believe, are still alive. They're freaking old. But my grandparents are alive and they got COVID. My uncles are alive and they had COVID. My parents are alive, they had COVID. A bunch of old people I know are alive and they had COVID. So, do I think COVID's legit? Yes, because I've had COVID. It's a disease, great. But do I believe it killed as many people as it did? I don't think so. I don't believe it. Because I rarely heard a bunch of ambulances going by from town to town, especially while I was still living in downtown, like near LA. I rarely heard any ambulances going back and forth from hospitals to people's homes. I barely saw bodies in the streets because of COVID. And nobody I knew died. And every time I would hear somebody died of COVID, it would be strange, because I would think, well, hold on, did they die of COVID or was it a heart attack? Did they die of COVID or was it an accident, like a car accident? Were they drunk? Because if you have COVID but you die from drunk driving, does that count as a COVID death? Does that go onto the scoreboard of COVID? Because if it does, that's a problem. But nobody answers these questions because they don't think critically. I'm going to tell you a few things you can do. That's the whole reason why I want to talk about all these things, is because there's a bunch of people out there trying to convince you what's true and what's not. And there's a few tactics that I use to remain skeptical and to try and find out the truth for myself. So the first thing is critical thinking. People will try and show you a point of view, and then they'll show you statistics. And for those who are great at critical thinking and they see those statistics, they can point out some key information that is missing, which is what I said about COVID. How many of those COVID deaths are actually because of COVID? How many of those COVID deaths are because people were coughing their lungs out and can't breathe? Or how many of it was actually people had COVID but they died in a car accident, or people had COVID and they died from cancer, or people had COVID but they died of suicide? Like, does that count? And if it does, you're lying. So let me know, like, how did this person die? Don't just say COVID. Was it complications with their lungs because of COVID? Was it that they couldn't breathe anymore? Because there's ways to solve that. Were they, what was the cause? What was the real cause? Second is, it all has to do really with critical thinking, but the second thing to watch out for. First one is a lack of information. Second one is, are they trying to convince me? Like, if they're trying to get me to do something, what are they trying to convince me of? Especially if it is to convince me that these people are bad, or anybody that goes against this is bad, or anybody that does this doesn't care about grandma and grandpa. If there is a way to get people to turn on each other, for people, especially in their own people in their own nation, to get them to turn on each other, it is present a problem, present the other side of here's the solution to the problem, present the other side of the problem as evil and incorrect and wrong and terrible people. I can't really think of an example for this, but there's plenty right now. I can't think of an example right now, but actually, let's just keep using COVID as an example. People that don't mask up don't care about your health. They don't care about your grandpa or grandma. They're ready to kill you if they just cough in your direction. Like I said, there were so many people giving me nasty looks for not having a mask on. And I didn't have COVID, but they thought that I was a threat to their life. How in the world were they convinced? How in the world were they convinced that me, not having a mask was a threat to their life, fear. It was all fear. It was all fear. How about how COVID was going to kill them? How it was a pandemic that was going to shake the world, destroy the world. And so people turned on each other because of that, because of fear. Same thing happened in Germany. I'm just saying. Same thing happened in Germany. But are they trying to convince you of something? And if so, if they are, can they convince you that another side of this argument is bad? Without even presenting their arguments either. They just say, here's the argument, here's the solution. Anybody trying to go against this solution is bad, is evil, is a person that isn't is lower than human. If you can critically think through that and say, okay, they're trying to convince me that this group of people are evil. Why? Is it true? Is it true that these people are evil? If I look at this group and I see that they're eating babies or killing babies or being absolute degenerates in public for an entire month, then I might be convinced that they're evil based on what I'm seeing. However, if I have no basis to believe that this other side is doing evil acts, then you convincing me, that you trying to tell me that these people are evil right now, you're trying to control me. You're trying to control my thoughts. You're shooting propaganda down my throat through my eyes, and I'm not having it. So, in a post-truth world, you need to be a critical thinker if you want to live in the truth. If you want to live in the truth, be a critical thinker. Be a skeptic. It is the only way to survive without having somebody control you. Because at that point, and this is a bad word in America, but I'm going to say it. If somebody can have control over you like that, they can convince you that another group of people are bad, that you have to wear a mask, that you have to get a vaccine with 5 boosters, you're a slave. You're a slave. And if you're a slave, I can't help you. Nobody can help you. Which is sad. But there is certainly people up there that are trying to control what you think. That are trying to control how you... when people can control what you think, they can control what you do. Look at COVID. That being said, it makes me scared for what this world has to offer in the future. But I can't worry about that too much right now because the only thing I can do is my best. And right now, right now I'm still trying to get rich. Right now, Right now, I still want to have a good career, have a good business, and start a family one day. But I still got my own goals to figure out before I start to really try really hard to get people to wake up. But this is a good start. I hope you all learned something from this Let's Talk. This is a very difficult, not very difficult, but it's a hard one to talk about in the post-truth world. I'm sure people will call me a skeptic. I'm sure people will say I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I'm just calling it like I see it. So, for those of my Christians out there, the truth will set you free. You know this. It's said in the Bible. Stay close to God. He'll show you the truth. For everybody else, find your faith. If not, play along. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you all stay safe in this post-truth world.